Thank you for joining us today for our COVID-19 briefing and winter weather update. We will begin today's briefing with Dr. Bruce Dart. Dr. Dart, you have the floor.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, everyone. To get started, today we are reporting an additional 202 Tulsa County residents who have tested positive for COVID-19, which brings us to a cumulative total of 69,314 Tulsa County residents who have had positive tests. 66,136 of those individuals have recovered. There are currently 2,511 confirmed active cases of COVID-19 in Tulsa County. Since our last press conference on February 4th, 61 more Tulsa County residents have died from COVID-19, including 6 deaths being reported today, bringing the total of those we've lost in Tulsa County to 667. As we all know, this pandemic has touched everyone, families who have lost loved ones most of all. Please keep those families in your prayers. To review some of our overall Tulsa County data trends, by February 2nd, more than 10% of all Tulsa County residents had tested positive. During the holiday spike, it was taking less than 2 weeks for another 1% of the population to test positive. Good news, that's no longer the case. As of today, we are 16 days out from the last 1% increase, and we still are not have reached 11% yet. We are on track to have more than 11% test positive within 12 days from now, almost a month after our last 1% increase. Our 7-day rolling averages is only 201.4 new cases per day, which is less than half from where we were several weeks ago. For the week of February 7th through 13th, there were only 1,603 cases reported. That's a significant decline from January, when we had the highest weeks of new cases reported. Also good news, hospitalizations have also gone down. However, more than 30% of hospitalizations are within those aged 50 to 64, and over 15% in those ages 36 to 49. So it's important to continue to follow public health guidelines to prevent spread. Younger people may have a false sense of security, but the data is still clear that younger Tulsa County residents are still at risk of severe illness that can result in hospitalization. The number of new cases is down from holiday peaks, and that's declining. That's great news. However, less people are seeking testing. We continue to have a decline in testing at the Tulsa Health Department, and we know that the weather may account for some of this. It's important to seek testing if you've been exposed to someone with COVID-19 or if you're experiencing symptoms. Remember, COVID-19 symptoms may mirror what you normally brush off as Oklahoma allergies or a common cold. Testing for COVID-19 helps public health identify and stop outbreaks. People who have been in close contact with someone who has had COVID-19 are not required to quarantine if they've been fully vaccinated against this disease within the last 3 months and show no symptoms. THD continues to administer COVID-19 vaccine to eligible individuals in Tulsa County, which includes all healthcare workers, first responders, and Oklahomans 65 years of age and older. On Monday, February 22nd, more than 1 million Oklahomans with comorbidities will be eligible to receive the vaccine, as well as along with pre-K through 12 teachers and staff. These comorbidities include, but are not limited to, hypertension, obesity, cardiovascular disease, Down syndrome, diabetes, chronic lung, liver, or renal disease, cancers, and those who are at high risk of mortality and severe morbidity resulting from a COVID infection. When you register on the Oklahoma vaccine portal, there's a question for you to attest to your health status. No further documentation will be required. If you receive your vaccine from your healthcare provider, they may use your medical records and history to determine if you're eligible for the shot. Teachers and adults with comorbidities who are registered on the portal will receive email notification on Saturday and Sunday of their eligibility and be able to start making appointments for any openings that they might find. Additionally, we're working with local partners to provide different opportunities for pre-K through 12 teachers and staff vaccinations based on vaccine allocations. Once we have more information, we'll be sharing this information with our local schools here in Tulsa County. The vaccine supply in our county is dependent on the federal allocation from the federal government to the state of Oklahoma. The state then makes allocations available to each county. We all know about the weather we've been experiencing. So due to inclement weather, we've rescheduled more than 8,000 vaccine appointments. We actually expect to be caught up with those that we missed by March 3rd, while continuing to vaccinate on a daily basis for those who do have appointments. According to the Oklahoma State Immunization Information System, or OSIS, THC has administered 33,826 vaccines to date, which include 8,934 second doses. There have been more than 114,251 doses administered in Tulsa County and documented OSIS as of February 16th. In Tulsa County, 50.4% of residents over the age of 65 have received at least one dose of vaccine. 14.6% of residents over the age of 65 have completed the series. For Tulsa County residents over the age of 65, 15.4% have received at least one dose of vaccine, and 6.1% have completed the series. A lot of percentages there. Appointments are required to receive the vaccine at our THC vaccine clinic. It must be scheduled using the Oklahoma vaccine portal at vaccinate.oklahoma.gov. A link is also available on the Tulsa Health Department COVID-19 website. The portal will continue to be used by local health departments to schedule appointments, but healthcare providers will use their own system to provide vaccine to their patients. We've added a list of some of the providers in Tulsa County who can administer the vaccine. Visit our webpage at www.tulsa-health.org/COVID vaccine to view the latest information. You can also call us at 918-582-9355 during regular business hours, or call 211 anytime to receive information about COVID-19 vaccine. You know, we understand that many people are frustrated with the impacts of the recent weather events, from power outages to water main breaks to delayed vaccine administration. We have rescheduled everyone whose appointment was canceled due to weather. I can assure you that doses are not being wasted due to cancellations. If you had an appointment, believe me, we will have vaccine for you. The Centers for Disease Control has issued guidance that the second dose should be administered as close to the recommended interval as possible. However, if that's not feasible, and of course our cancellations have made it not feasible for many people, if a delay, and if that delay happens, the second dose of Pfizer or Moderna COVID-19 vaccines may be administered up to 6 weeks or 42 days after that first dose. So as long as you're within that 42-day time period, your second dose will still be very effective. Let's talk a little bit about masking. Correct and consistent mask use is a critical step everyone can take to reduce the risk of getting and spreading COVID-19. Masks work best when everyone wears them, but not all masks provide the same protection. How well a mask fits, how well it filters the air, and how many layers it has are all important issues to consider when choosing a mask to wear. Wearing a mask around people who do not live with you, or when someone in your house is sick, is now even more critical with the increased spread of new COVID-19 variants, some of which appear to spread more easily and quickly than the original virus that caused COVID-19. Masks should completely cover your nose and your mouth. They should fit snugly on the side of your face and not have any gaps. Adding more layers of material to a mask and layering is a good way to reduce the number of respiratory droplets containing the virus that might come out through the mask. So please choose a cloth mask that has multiple layers of fabric to provide greater protection. Another strategy is to wear two masks or a double mask. One way to do this is to wear a medical procedure mask underneath a cloth mask. A recent study conducted in a laboratory found that this double mask combination provided much better protection to the wearer and to others as compared with wearing a cloth mask by itself or a medical procedure mask by itself. Next week, more than 1 million Oklahomans will be eligible to receive the vaccine, but the state's only receiving 137,000 more doses next week. We want to vaccinate everyone who wants to receive a vaccine, but this process realistically is going to take some time. We ask for patience and continuing vigilance to slow the spread of the virus. While you wait for your turn to receive the vaccine, it's imperative to continue to follow public health guidelines. Wash your hands, wear a mask around those you don't live with, watch your distance, avoid crowds, particularly in poorly ventilated indoor spaces. Talk to your doctor or call the Tulsa Health Department to speak with a public health professional if you have questions or concerns about the vaccine. We want to empower all residents to make informed decisions about their health. THC remains committed to protecting the health and well-being of all Tulsa County residents. Our Food Protection Services program reminds local food establishments that they should not open if they are without water. Establishments that sell prepackaged items only can be open and sell to the public, but they should have water to flush employee toilets, and at a minimum, have hand wipes or sanitizer with paper towels for use after the restroom. All food service should continue if they don't have water until the water service resumes. Our Environmental Health Services reminds every resident of the importance of using space heaters safely. Do not use unapproved heating sources such as a cook stove or a gas grill due to the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning and fire hazards. We all know the last year has thrown a lot of challenges at our communities, but I've been amazed at the resiliency of all Tulsa County residents. And I know everyone is eager for warm, brighter, and safer days ahead, and they will come. At this time, I'd like to introduce Tulsa County Commissioner Karen Keith.
Thank you, Dr. Becker. Please stand by.
Eager for warm, brighter, and safer days ahead, and they will come.
Commissioner Keith, you have the floor.
Tulsa County Commissioner Karen Keith.
Thank you, Dr. Dart. And this community is so grateful for all the efforts you and your staff. And I think they have no idea how many hours you've invested 7 days a week. But anyway, my personal thanks to you. And hello to everyone else. It has been a hectic week, and I hope you're all warm and safe. I'd like to first take a moment to thank our city and county crews for doing their very best to keep up with the drifting and blowing snow while continuing to work in sub-zero temperatures. And we should all say thank you to the crews. Clayton, your team, he's on this call today. They have done so much to shore up the broken water lines throughout the region, and everybody's patience is going to be required on this. Also want to send kudos to the county crews for clearing and sanding the parking lots at Expo so that the health department's vaccine clinics could resume. And thank you again to these crews as well as the workers distributing the vaccines. So grateful. Now, if your water has been temporarily shut off, there is a water station set up at Expo Square, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Just park near the driller and walk in, bring your own containers, and wear a mask. Tulsa County parks have been impacted by this weather. So our community and rec centers at Chandler Park, O'Brien, Bixby, South County are all closed while they clear the snow off the parking lots. Now, the parkland at O'Brien and Hakey Creek, they are open. The LaFortune Community Center is open along with the Case Tennis Center. And LaFortune Park and South Lakes golf courses are closed, likely through Monday, but you can check the website to see if anything changes. But if you need a great burger, the LaFortune Park and South Lakes Grills, they're open until 4 p.m. And the LaFortune Park and South Lakes Golf Pro Shops are also open until 5. Also want to thank our park staff for pitching in to clear the parking lots and walkways at the Election Board, the Family Justice Center, and Social Services. Tomorrow, all park community centers will return to their normal operating hours. And as the winter weather is slowly retreating from our area, we can shift to focus to the spring and how we get closer to the light at the end of this pandemic tunnel. Now, that said, we still have a long way to go, and this winter weather did nothing to help those who are struggling, especially those who are suffering with feelings of isolation and despair. Now, to those of you feeling this way, please don't give up. There is hope, and we are moving in the right direction, as you heard Dr. Dart say. Now, even if it feels to you like it is moving painfully slow, things are getting better. So please reach out to the Mental Health Association and others if you need help or just need to talk to someone. The easiest number to remember is 211. they can get you the help you need. Now, in the meantime, as I've said before, please continue the 3 W's: wash your hands, watch your distance, and of course, wear your mask. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all soon. And Mayor Bynum, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate your social media updates. They have been so helpful. You are a steady hand. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Keith. Please stand by. Mayor Bynum, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. Before I get into the COVID response, I want to give a few quick city updates on our weather response. Our crews have been out working in the field now for nearly 2 weeks, around the clock, putting in long hours, many of them working in the cold, getting wet, and definitely not getting much sleep. This has been all in the midst of the ongoing global pandemic that we're all living through. I want Tulsans to know, and I think you're probably seeing it, that we have the best team in the country working through this event to keep our roads navigable, our citywide water system operable, and all other city services operating. I'm so proud of our team at the City of Tulsa. They've shown themselves to be true public servants over the last several weeks in the way that they have gone about their work, protecting and serving the citizens of Tulsa. Our street crews have done an awesome job keeping the main streets clear. Neighborhood streets continue to be an issue, and that's simply a matter of capacity and resources. But our arterial streets are in very good shape, and they are doing a good job keeping them clear. In fact, now we're having to evaluate when these crews shift from plowing and de-icing and start to move back to what they often spend a lot of their time on, which is addressing potholes, which we expect to be an issue given the temperature fluctuations that we've gone through and will be going through over the next week. The fleet maintenance team at the City of Tulsa has just done an amazing job keeping all these trucks and plows operating. You can imagine what machinery goes through when it's exposed to -20 wind chill and is operating 24 hours a day for 2 weeks. And yet this team has kept that fleet operating and out in the field, serving the citizens of Tulsa, which is what it's there for. Our crews have responded to a historic number of water line breaks throughout the city, and you're going to hear more on that here in a few moments from Clayton Edwards, the director of our water and sewer team. In addition to this, we're seeing a strain on our storage tanks as those breaks happen, which can negatively impact the availability of water to fight fires and water for our healthcare system. More water has been coming in or going out, than coming in for several days because of the combination of drips that we all have at our homes to keep our pipes from freezing, and also water line breaks. As of last night, nearly all of those breaks have been closed off, and so we're not losing it. And we were very happy to see that as of this morning, we're starting to see a rebound in our storage tank levels, which protects pressure throughout the entire system and allows our system to work the way it should be. But we still have a long way to go when it comes to conserving water. And so, we ask that everybody help us out by not using high water use appliances like your dishwasher or your clothes washing machine. If you can refrain from taking a bath or a long shower, that would be very helpful. If you can just keep your water consumption to cooking, drinking, and your toilet hopefully not all from the same source. That would be great. At the city of Tulsa, we're working to conserve energy and water. I really want to thank the team at the BOK Center for canceling the Oilers game last night as a part of this effort. I myself, if you can't tell from the bedhead, skipped my shower this morning. And you know what makes you a really popular guy at the office? Working up a sweat, shoveling off your driveway, and then rolling into the office without a shower. But it's helping me maintain social distance. And I think all of us can do our part to get that water level back up to the level that it needs to be at. There are several places where residents have been impacted by water service interruptions. And so last night we made the decision to open up a facility at the fairgrounds at the River Spirit Expo. Anybody who needs water between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., you can go there and they have plenty of water there to provide to you. We just ask that you bring your own containers and be patient if you don't immediately see somebody at our fire stations, which is the other place that we're offering. Any Tulsa fire station between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. you can go to get water at one of those locations. Unfortunately, our firefighters are keeping very busy out in the field because a lot of homes and businesses are having water line breaks there, and those firefighters are going in to shut off those water lines. So if you get to a fire station and nobody's there, please just be patient. They'll be back, but they're out helping your neighbors. Of course, if you go to one of our fire stations or to the fairgrounds facility to get water, masks are a requirement to help protect everybody involved. As a reminder, the RFP deadline for our COVID relief grant program that the city of Tulsa is funding with COVID relief fund dollars. The deadline for local nonprofits to apply for that is tomorrow, Friday, February 19th. These are for nonprofits that want to help address negative effects of the pandemic. You can find more information on the program, your eligibility, and how to apply on our website, cityoftulsa.org/cares. On the COVID front, we actually have good news. Yesterday, our COVID hospitalizations in Tulsa were down to 164 patients. We have not been at that level in Tulsa since early October. And just to put this in context from how far we've come, we hit an all-time high for COVID hospitalizations on January 8th at 466 patients. So to be down to 164 as of today after a continuous downward decline over the last month and a half is a great accomplishment for our community. And I just want to ask that everybody keep doing what you've been doing to help bring those numbers down. I want to thank the team at the Tulsa Health Department and all of our local healthcare partners who are working to vaccinate Tulsans as fast as they can obtain doses from the federal government. And I want to thank all our fellow Tulsans who've obtained the vaccine when it was your turn to get it. Lastly, on a personal note, I would like to be a little candid. As the mayor, I've now spent about a year telling everybody in our city what you shouldn't do. And, don't run your dishwasher, don't go in public without a mask, cut back on your use of natural gas, wash your hands, and on and on and on. And I know a lot of you are sick of hearing what you can't do. I know I am. I ran for this job because I wanted to hire more cops and firefighters, grow great employers in our city, and make Tulsa a city where every kid has an equal shot at a great life. That's the stuff that I love talking about. But none of us get to choose to live through a pandemic or a recession or a historic winter storm. We didn't choose wave after wave of challenges that have hit our community, but we can control how we respond to them. And I spend all day as your mayor talking with experts in their field who tell me how best our community can handle these challenges. That almost always involves each of us changing the way we do things in order to protect one another. So when I suggest these precautions, I suggest them so you can protect yourself and your family and your neighbors. And I'm doing them all myself too. I will never ask my fellow Tulsans to take any precaution that I wouldn't take myself. And Tulsans have, for the past year, made a lot of sacrifices. We saw this early on in the pandemic when we asked non-essential businesses to close and people to stay home. And now we're seeing it in extreme, once in a decade weather event. But what hasn't changed through all of that is that outside of the things not under our control, we've been, as a community, selfless and kind to those who live here. Tulsans' generosity shined through over the summer when we raised $500,000 for one of our wounded officers. And it's shined again in the last week when more than $100,000 was donated by individual Tulsans to help us serve our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness, help get them out of the cold, and get them into a warm shelter during this weather event. So I want to thank all of you for your resilience, your perseverance. Please continue to do your part, and let's not let our guard down as we move forward towards those times that we all want to be living in, a happy, productive, successful time for our city. Thank you.
Please stand by. We want to have now hear from Clayton Edwards. Clayton, you have the floor.
Good afternoon. This event has been described as unprecedented, and I will give you some information to kind of reinforce that. Once we restored full pumping capacity at Mohawk early this morning, we've been pumping 180 million gallons a day, and that is what we typically pump on a hot summer day in August. We usually pump an average of 90 million gallons a day in February, so we're pumping twice what we normally do. Since this storm has started, we have had 200 main breaks, and the fire department has responded to 232 breaks on private fire lines. So combining those two numbers, that is equivalent to the total number of breaks we usually average in a year. So you can see this is an unprecedented event. We currently have 160 active breaks, and we have changed our policy when we do respond to breaks. We are now totally valving down the line when we come across a break. Now, I know it's an inconvenience to our customers, but we need to do that to try to keep water within the system. So it may be a day or two before we can get to the repair. So I'm asking our customers, just try to be patient. Currently, we have about 108 lines valved down. That is impacting 1,742 customers and 123 businesses. We currently have 10 city crews out in the field today, continuing the valve down procedure. We also have 8 city crews that we've transitioned over to make repairs, and that's in addition to 20 crews from local contractors that are making the repairs today. A couple other things I want to point out, given the large volume of calls we've been receiving, we've added another line for our customers to call in. So if a customer has a break, they can call either our water dispatch at 918-596-9488 or our sewer dispatch 918-586-6999. We've also added a new email address if customers want to report a break through that. That email address is waterbreaks@cityoftulsa.org. We still have a long way to go as far as the water system is concerned. with warmer temperatures forecasting in the future, we anticipate having additional breaks as the ground warm up and we start seeing soil shifting. We should see more breaks. So I want to stress again the importance of conservation. We need to try to keep water within the system so we can have water available for water storage tanks. That pretty much completes my report, so I'll be available for answers, for questions.
Please stand by while we bring everybody back in for question and answer.
As my husband comes to pretty much starts laundry yesterday.
So I'll be available
Much. We're now going to begin the question and answer part of our briefing. The first question is for Dr. Dart from Fox 23. With there being such a backup of appointments, are there any new appointment slots that are able to be opened up right now?
So as I said previously, we have already rescheduled everybody who had an appointment canceled, which means we'll probably be working on the next couple of Saturdays to catch up, but we fully expect to be caught up by March 3rd.
Next question is for Dr. Dart as well. Has the Tulsa Health Department considered opening Saturday appointments yet?
Not yet, not before the weather cancellation happened. So because we've been averaging about 2,000 a day at our pods, and we've been meeting the state's requested burn rate of getting vaccine out 7 days after we receive it. So at this juncture, we hadn't, but it doesn't mean that we weren't looking at that going forward. It's our goal as vaccine allowance increase to do whatever it takes to get vaccine in arms as quickly as possible.
Next question is for Mayor Bynum from Fox 23. How is the current salt supply doing after 10 days of some kind of snowfall in Tulsa? Do we have enough left in case we get a storm next month? And do we need to order more to replenish what we have used?
Yeah, no, our team in the Streets and Stormwater Department has done a really good job of monitoring that supply. Of course, we weren't able to use any of our salt for the last several days because the temperatures were so low that it wouldn't work if it was put on the ground or on the street. So our supply is still in good shape. And I have actually just signed an invoice in the last couple of days to allow them to purchase more. So we will be in good shape moving forward on that supply.
Thank you, Mayor. Next question is for Dr. Dart from Channel 8. Prior to the winter storm, vaccination efforts had began to pick up. How long will it take for these efforts to ramp back up? And did this storm change our vaccine timeline by any significant amount?
I think that remains to be seen. As I say, we have rescheduled our appointments. We have Saturday clinics to make up for that as well. We have open spots that people that cancel, we slid people into. So as I said, we hope to catch up by March 3rd. But one of our concerns now is that vaccine allotments shipped to the state have been delayed. And we'll find out more information on that as the week goes on. So I don't think it's really going to impact our timeline. We're hoping it doesn't, but I think we have to remain flexible in case that does happen. And if it does, we'll do, as I said before, whatever it takes to rearrange our schedules to make sure that everyone gets their vaccine.
Next question from KWGS for Clayton. Are we seeing water outages, shutdowns, burst pipes, etc., in hospitals and other critical facilities? And are we in danger of any of that?
No, when we started getting some lower pressures, we actually contacted our critical customers, including the hospitals. So we recognize the importance to keep them in water. With the pumpage we're doing right now, we're starting to see the water levels increase. So I think we're able to maintain minimum pressure especially for our critical customers.
Thank you, Clayton.
And Brian, if I can cut in here for a sec, It's good to know that our streets and stormwater director is watching this. So he just sent me a note to let me know we actually got a shipment of salt in today. And so we feel very good about our ability to handle future snow events.
Thank you, Mayor. This is another question from the Tulsa world for Clayton. Can you speak to the efforts of the crews out in this weather trying to help us have water and refuse while issues keep piling up? Have there been reports of any on-the-job injuries due to the conditions these folks are having to work in?
We've been fortunate as far as my crews. We have not really had any injuries during repairs. Of course, during these difficult conditions, we would rotate our crews, given the opportunity to get warmed up in their trucks. I mean, some of the conditions they're working under are very dangerous and really unbearable. So we pay close attention to our conditions of our crews.
Thank you, Clayton. Next question is for Clayton as well. With current water conservation efforts underway, should I fill a bathtub to prepare for my household's water needs, like flushing the toilet, if I'm without water for a couple of days, or does that add to the strain on the system?
Well, what I would recommend is when we start to valve down a line for a break, we will try to notify the customers to give them an opportunity to either fill some jugs or fill their tubs for the purpose of flushing their toilets. So I do not see the need right now for most of our customers, but if they do get notified of a break in their line, and we're going to valve the line down, that's an opportunity to go ahead and make preparations to be without water for a couple days.
Thank you, Clayton. Next question is from Fox 23 for Mayor Bynum. It says, we are getting numerous concerns from people that water bills are about to go up, either to help pay for so many breaks in the system or because a pipe breaks on someone's property and the water gushes out for a while before it's turned off. Can you address the concerns about higher water bills that are now circulating throughout social media?
Yeah, and then I think Clayton can probably address this as well. But our rates are set. They're set annually by the Tulsa City Council and I through the annual budget process. So you're not going to see any sort of dramatic increase in response to this, but also say that our staff is our staff. They're on board and in place through our annual budget process, so that's not impacted by rates. Another key thing that's very important is that President Biden just today, I believe, or late yesterday, approved the state of Oklahoma's request for a declaration of disaster, and that can help offset a lot of the costs that the city is incurring in responding to this event. Clayton, I'd appreciate your thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, we don't anticipate seeing any rate increases due to this event. We've already planned in our budget for a certain amount of warming breaks and street repairs and stuff like that. I think we will be able to absorb any additional expenditures that we would have due to this episode.
Thank you both.
Well, and Brian, one other thing that I think is important for folks to understand, that our water system has a capital program that is funded through the rates that are already paid. And so the work that's being done is being funded through that with existing rates.
Thank you, Mayor Bynum. We have a question from KWGS for Clayton. The other day, you said customers should prepare for at least a day of being without water if it's shut off. Is that still the estimate? I've heard from residents who have been without it for 2 days now.
Given the large number of breaks that we're experiencing, I would prepare probably at least 1 day, maybe 2 days or more. Right now, it's hard to give a schedule or an estimate when we can get to a repair. Once we do get to repair, we can usually get that completed at least within a day. So if you're out of water, I would plan accordingly, and it's better to have excess water available in case the outage is longer than anticipated.
Thank you, Clayton.
I'm sorry to keep cutting in on you here, but I want to also remind folks that if you find yourself out of water, we have these water stations now available at every Tulsa fire station and also at the fairgrounds at the River Spirit Expo Center. So you don't have to feel like you need to fill up your bathtub. You have water available at all of those places.
And actually, I may interrupt. As far as those water stations, they're going to be set at the fairgrounds, the TCC North Campus, and also La Fortune Park.
Thank you both. The next question is from Fox 23 for Clayton as well. With the city of Tulsa supplying water to other cities, which are being addressed first? Do you start within the city and work your way out, or do you address each break as they are listed by the time and day they came in?
Well, we prioritize breaks based on a number of factors. One is, if it's a damaging break, the number of customers. Talking about our outside customers, we provide water to a lot of our surrounding communities, Jenks, Owasso, Glenpool, things like that. We've been in touch with them. We've informed them of the situation, and we've asked them to also conserve. Their systems are a little bit newer than ours, so they are not experiencing the volume of breaks that we're experiencing. But as far as prioritizing breaks, usually it's based on maybe size, location, number of customers, things like that.
Thank you, Clayton. This is the last question that we have. This is from KOTV to Clayton again. How can residents get the latest updates on getting water back to their homes? The board currently shows to be determined instead of showing a normal estimated time.
Right. Unfortunately, as I said, we can't at this time really give a firm commitment on when water is going to be restored. There's so many factors going on with the number of breaks, the number of crews available, the time it takes to complete a repair. So unfortunately, at this time, we can't really give an estimate. If you should happen to see a repair crew out completing repair, you could expect maybe within that day or soon after to have the water restored.
Thank you, Clayton. Before we wrap up, Mayor, is there anything else that you might like to add or anything before we wrap up?
I would just encourage folks, if you want to keep up to date on the latest information, you can go to cityoftulsa.org. There's a really, the water and sewer and IT teams developed a really good tracker for those who haven't already seen it that has a map of all the active water breaks. As well as a list of them. And so you can see if there's one that's been reported in your area. But cityoftulsa.org, our team is throughout the day providing updates there and on the City of Tulsa's social media channels as well.
Thank you, Mayor Bynum, and thank you all for taking time to be with us today. And everybody stay safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.